Hello there, I'm Meredith Blackwell, and I'm interviewing
Kayla Pennerman.
Kayla and
Dillon husbands.
And one is almost through with her degree, and the other one has just finished last week.
I am almost through in May.
Oh, okay, almost through. Okay, I jumped the gun, sorry.
I wish.
So, anyway, why don't you start out, each of you take turns, tell me where you were born, how you came to be interested in mycology, and why you ended up at Rutgers and Purdue. Okay? Why don't you start?
Okay. So I'm originally from the Bahamas, and I went to undergraduate school. I did my undergraduate in Salisbury, Maryland, and I became interested in mycology because I started interning with a plant pathologist named Dr. Catherine Everts at the Lower Eastern Shore Research and Education Center, LESRIC, in Maryland. And she introduced me to the world of plant pathology, and through her I became really interested in how different organisms can infect plants and how different ones might be more virulent than the others. And so I carried that experience with me throughout my graduate career, and I tried to focus in all of my research on different plant pathogens.
So which one in particular did you work with? A lot of them, or?
Oh, with Dr. Everts, I worked mostly with Fusarium oxysporum, and I also dabbled in the plant parasite Cuscuta or Daughter for an honors thesis.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen Daughter growing in Baton Rouge where I used to live. And you ended up a long way from home.
I am very far away from home. So I was born in Guyana, and I actually did my undergraduate degree in agriculture. And so at the University of Guyana, I actually got involved in mycology when a professor from India, Lalita Kumari Janartanam, was a visiting professor at the University of Guyana, and she was doing some workshops on mushroom cultivation, and so she was teaching us how to cultivate Pleurotus ostriatus and Volvariella volvaceae. So
this was for food.
This was for food, and I really got involved. At that same particular time, Dr. Terry Hinkle, who had been coming to Guyana for several years now,
Like 15?
15 years, decided to collaborate with the University of Guyana to do a workshop on fungal diversity within our forest. And so I got involved in that, and so I met Dr. Hinkle. Eventually I did a master's at the University of Guyana, and Dr. Hinkle became my advisor. And because Dr. Hinkle and Professor Catherine Aim are collaborators, I met her, and I also did my second master's with Professor Aim, and I am now in the second year of my PhD with Professor Aim too. So it's a long history of people who collaborated with each other, and that is how I got involved in mycology.
I actually heard you talk in your lab meeting about the organism you're working with that grows on seed.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about that, and then.
Yes. So when Dr. Hinkle did this workshop for the University of Guyana, we went out collecting. We came across a xylariaceous species, a xylariaceous fungus fruiting on the seeds of greenheart. Now, greenheart is one of Guyana's most important timber species. And so when we found this xylariaceous fungus fruiting on these seeds, we were like, this is big, because of the economic importance of this crop.
And it was very specific, right?
It is very specific to greenheart, because greenheart also grows in a mixed forest. And over the course of several years, every time we have seen this particular fungus, we have only seen it in association with greenheart seeds.
Okay.
Yes, we've only seen it in association with green hand seeds.
And you're continuing that for your PhD?
I am continuing that for my PhD. We have recently described this fungus as new, and so we're calling it Xylaria caryoptera. And for my PhD, we want to try to sort out the life history strategy of this fungus, because eventually we are going to have to find a way to manage this fungus. Eventually we're going to have to find a way to contain this fungus. And in order to do that, we need the baseline information in order to guide us for management strategies. And so this is what I am doing for my PhD. I'm looking to sort out the life history strategy of this fungus.
Good. And with Dr. Bennett, are you doing, what specifically are you working on for your PhD?
So I'm currently working on 2 different projects. So the first one is with a partnership with the USDA, and for that I'm using bioinformatics tools in order to compare the genomes and other omic data of different strains of alpha-toxigenic and non-alpha-toxigenic Aspergillus flavus, in order to see if we can detect some sort of genetic markers that can tell you how efficient a particular non-toxigenic strain will be in controlling the alpha-toxigenic ones. So we want to see whether or not if we have a new biocontrol strain, whether or not it will be good to use in the field or not, just based on different genetic markers. The second project is based on the volatile work that my lab is usually associated with. So I'm looking at seeing how this one compound that we have that's a very common fungal volatile, and I'm looking to see how it affects penicillia, particularly how it affects the toxin production, the production of this toxin called patulin, and whether or not, and how it modulates that production. And for that, I'm using basic molecular tools in order to do those work.
Yeah. So both of you, are you going to be able to apply this later, what you're learning now, apply it to later life and get jobs? Or?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I would actually be the first person from my country to be trained in fungal taxonomy and systematics. And so, because Guyana is 80% covered by forests, and these forests are rich in diversity. A lot of times when we go out, we go sampling, what we find is lots of taxa that are new to science, and so as the first person, I'm hoping that there are other people who would follow in my footsteps, because there's lots of work to be done. But definitely this training that I'm getting at Purdue University, I am definitely going to go back to my country and to apply the knowledge that I have gained there.
Yeah, and have you taught? Are you teaching at Purdue, or are you just doing research?
I am doing research, and I'm also a teaching assistant. I alternate between introductory plant pathology and in the Department of Biology too. So I TA and do research.
Okay, so that's good. Good experience. Yeah, when I went to school, I did not ever have any experience teaching. And I was thrown out in the cruel world in the teaching college, and it was very difficult for me. Do you teach too?
Yes, I also do research and part-time TA.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know Ning?
Yes.
Yeah, Ning was my student.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she had a symposium this morning. So, are there a lot of women at Purdue? I mean, at Rutgers? A lot of women in mycology? There's 2.
Well, in my department, there aren't that many people in mycology, period.
Okay, what department are you in?
I am in plant biology.
Okay.
Which is not surprising, we don't have that many mycologists.
Yeah.
But, so we have Dr. Bennett, Dr. Ning Zhang, and Dr. Jim White. And then outside of our department, I'm aware of some other people in different departments, like Dr. John Denton. But other women mycologists?
Yeah, they're men mostly. I think there's someone at a Cranberry Institute. Do you have a Cranberry Institute?
We do.
Off-site. He's in the department, but you probably never see him because he's working
Because he's
at
all the way out
experiment
there.
station. Yeah. So what do you plan to do? Do you plan to teach or just do research when you're finished?
I plan to focus mostly on research. I'm really interested in applying the skills that I'm gaining through my graduate education, and particularly the computational stuff that I'm doing, in order to use that in order to help us figure out how different pathogens are, why different pathogens are more virulent than others, and try to use that in order to help protect our food crops and our food supply, and to help reduce food waste. But I also am interested in teaching and helping to pass down some of these techniques and some of the knowledge that we're gaining, and helping other students figure out whether or not they're interested in mycology and plant pathology, and basically to help bring up the next generation of mycologists, even though I'm still coming up myself.
Well, generation's getting shorter.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, are you living in the States now, or do you plan to go back to Bahamas? Or?
Currently, my plan is to stay in the United States. However, if I feel like it'll be more beneficial for me to go back
Or
to
the right job?
yeah,
Yes,
or
yeah.
if there's something that I can really contribute
Yeah.
back home.
It is a real privilege for me to be studying under the guidance of Professor Aim, who is one of the leading women in mycology in this time, and it's a real privilege for me. And I just want to take this time to, really express my gratitude to her for this opportunity.
She is very, very good. We overlapped for 2 or 3 years at LSU, so it was really fun to teach mycology with her.
Yes.
And I would like to do the same for my professor, Dr. Joan Bennett. She's been really awesome with letting me explore my interests. So I spent a couple of years, I wouldn't say waffling, but shifting between different topics, and she allowed me the space in order to find the stuff
Yeah.
that I'm truly interested in.
Yeah, and she was down in New Orleans when I was at LSU for some time, and then the hurricane drove her away. But she's lucky that she landed up at Rutgers, so it was a good place for her.
Yes.
Yeah. So, well, good luck in the future, and have great jobs, and be a good model for women.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And men.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.